Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. So today I'm going to do a wrecked flip cup. Now I don't think I've done one of these on video before, so this is going to be a new one for you and for me. The colours I'm using range from like a blue turquoise to a raw sienna, a Paynes Gray, a Winsor Blue. So I'm going to put those in the description. I'm using a 20 by 20 inch canvas and I'm just going to layer my cup using one tone at a time, not being too fussy with how I layer it because basically all the colours go in the one cup. I'm going to put the cup on the canvas, flip it over, wait for a minute and release the cup. Okay, so I'm going to pick my canvas up, place my cup on it and turn it over and then place the canvas back onto the table. So when I release this, we'll get a pattern on the canvas and then I'm going to wreck it. So let's see what we can create. So before I add some more paint onto the canvas to help that paint kind of flow, I'm just going to go around in a circular motion just to kind of see where the paint is, where the colours are, and that gives me an idea on where I'm going to stretch this. But what I'll do is I will just add some more paint around the edges to help that flow and that whole pattern design and stretch across that canvas. What I will say is the paint that I'm putting around the edge is the paint that I had for the original design, but that paint is going to go all off the edges and back onto my table to be used again in the future, so I wasn't too worried about that. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking my palette knife and I'm just going to go all the way across this design. So when you're going across the design, just think about the motion that you're going in, think about the patterns that you're creating with your palette knife, because when you stretch that out, that's going to emphasize those patterns even more. As I said, the stuff around the edges, all that paint around the edges will go off the edge, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm focusing more on the center point of that design, because when it's stretched, that's what's going to cover the full canvas. Okay, so time to stretch, and what I'm doing is I'm just taking the paint off and down the edges, so all of that paint around the edges, as I said, would come off. And then what I'm doing is I'm almost kind of looking at the composition as I go. I will take off the edge the paint that I really just don't want in the final design, but I'm also making sure that when I stretch I don't take all the paint off, because I still want some paint on that base to work with to be able to create my final design. So just bear in mind that kind of fact when you're stretching. Just have an idea of where the volume and the base paint is kind of lying. You want a consistent layer in the end, so just make sure there aren't any heavy puddles on that canvas as you stretch before you say to yourself, yes, this is the final design and I'm happy with it, because that will also help with the drying. So here we go guys, the wet version, and I love that raw sienna. It's almost gold like, but I'm very mindful that it will dry darker. I love the colours that I've chosen for this. It'd be interesting to see if it all remains in place. It should do, but I love some of those lines. You can see those lines there within those blues. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. I'm really happy with this. I love that section, and I think the raw sienna actually breaks it up a bit and creates that kind of, I don't know, what do you think? I've got kind of like a beachy sea kind of feel with this. I'll show you the dried version. And here we go, the dried version up on my wall, just so you can see some of that detail. I'll go in and show you some of the finer detail in the close-ups, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining me this week. I hope you've had a good week, and I hope you have a great week ahead. Thanks so much for all your support, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care everyone, bye.